Dr. April Willis here. I am the founder and lead consultant of April Willis Consulting LLC, and I want to talk to you today about how we can leverage brand potential to maximize your business. So, just to kind of let you know who I am and what I do, my consulting company kind of has two prongs to it. On one side, I am serving organizations. Typically, I serve small businesses, nonprofits, and startups, and I'm basically like their COO by the hour or on retainer. I do all operational products and services for them. So, everything behind the scenes that it takes to have a company establish itself and then be up and running. So, that looks like starting as early as registering with the state. Coming up with their mission statement, their business plan, strategic objectives and initiatives, all the way into doing some of their HR for them, their recruiting and their hiring, grant writing. I do a lot of that for my nonprofit clients, do social media management, I'll do compliance, board development. I am doing all of the behind the scenes work. I really enjoy what I do. I come with a wealth of experience in all of these topics. I was a director of business operations for a charter school district, and I've worked at the campus, district, and state levels in education. I have a doctorate in educational administration, and I have 3 master's degrees, including an MBA. I've also published 2 books on achieving academic and professional success, founded a scholarship, and I serve on several boards. So it's just a little bit about me. I wanted to give you some of my credentials so that you know you can trust what I have to say. So let's jump right into what the topic is today. I'm going to try to keep this video brief. You can breeze through it if you'd like, and then I'll also be moderating comments in the post below this. So if you guys have questions, please just let me know. Okay, so I want to start with small businesses. When we're talking about who small businesses are, who they serve, what they do, did you know that small businesses in America currently make up 99.9% of all businesses in total? That means only 0.1% are the large corporations that we all know and love. We've got 31.7 million small businesses in America, but 50% of them failed after 5 years. So what we need to do is we need to figure out, as small business owners, what is it that we can do so that we are not in the 50% that fail, but we're in the 50% that succeed. So one of the things we want to do about that is establish a brand. Our brand is who we are. It is how we are recognized by consumers. It is how we are recognized by competitors. It is how we put ourselves out there. And what we're going to talk about today is I'm going to go over a few tips with you about moving from just brand recognition to brand awareness. So brand recognition is the idea that people can see your brand, they recognize it, and they understand what you do, which for a lot of us as small businesses, that in itself is a huge feat because we oftentimes don't have the marketing budget. Oftentimes people know you're your person as your brand. They might not necessarily recognize your company as a brand just yet. The brand awareness piece is when you move from just recognizing your brand to connecting with your brand, to trusting it, to becoming a loyal client. There are really 3 questions that I want you to think about as we move through some of the strategies we're going to talk about today. One is, what does your brand offer and how do people know that? So you know what you do, you know what your brand offers, but do consumers know what your brand offers? If consumers see a logo, can they be like, oh, that is the website guru, that is the financial guru, that is the tech expert? Do they know that if they just see your logo or if they hear somebody in passing saying they're working with your company? The next question is, who does your brand serve and do they know that? You know who your ideal client is. Your ideal client might be other startups or small businesses. Your ideal client might be individuals going through a certain phase in life. Your ideal client might be entire organizations that need somebody like you to come in to turn things around. You know who your ideal client is, but do they know that you're your ideal client? So that's another thing to keep in mind is when you're building your brand, think about who you're speaking to, what messages you're conveying. And then finally, the last question is, why should consumers trust your brand? What are you doing to build that trust, that loyalty, and that level of expertise where people really believe that you are the expert in your field and you are worth the money that you're about to charge them to work with them? So those are 3 questions I just want you to keep in the back of your mind as we move through some of these brand awareness strategies. So the first strategy I want to share with you is to be consistent. When we're talking about color palettes, fonts, shapes, designs, all of the messaging, the tone in your messaging, all of it needs to be consistent. Now, if you are a startup company and you're just starting to establish your brand, you've got very little room for experimentation. Hopefully, a lot of that is done behind the scenes before you ever become forward facing. But once you do become forward facing and you start to put a logo out there, you start to put a website out there, you start to send some invoices out. When you start doing these things in which your logo and your brand is being represented through a multitude of methods, avenues, and channels, we want to make sure it's consistent. So if it's not consistent, it could look like that you're unprofessional, that you're figuring things out, maybe that you aren't as established as you told people when you were quoting them. It might look like that you're a little sloppy. Maybe it looks like that you might have some things together, but not everything's together. Or you're still, if you can't get it right for yourself, how are you supposed to get it right for the client? So this is your fundamental component. When we're talking about branding and building your brand, it is consistency. It is establishing those color palettes, those fonts, those tones, the voice, all of that stuff up front. Get it right at the beginning. And then from there, try not to deviate from it. What that also means is don't always go with your initial gut instinct. Oftentimes we have an idea in our head of like, oh, I think it'd be really cool to have these colors. This would be my logo. You get it out, you plan it, you draft it. And in your head, you're like, yeah, I think this is great. This is what I was looking for. But if you don't get the opinions of other people who could be potential clients or other professionals who you trust, almost a little mini focus group of presenting them multiple options, saying, hey guys, tell me how you feel about these colors, how you feel about this logo, this design, this shape. Let them see variety of choices. Let them tell you which ones speak to them, and then let them elaborate on that. I really like this because I think it's clean, it's fresh, it's concise. Or I really don't like this because I feel like it gives me negative vibes. It's too hard to read. The font you chose, I don't know what it says if I'm at a distance. They're going to give you perspectives that are very different than your initial thoughts because you were the one who came up with it in your head. It's perfect. And so before you start launching something that was perfect in your head, make sure you get the perspective of other people that you trust so that when you finally do launch, you're launching something of quality. And then I also want to speak to one other thing. I know some of you are thinking, but wait a second, I've seen major brands go through logo revamps, brand revamps over time. We can think of several right off the bat. Coca-Cola does a redesign every 10, 15 years or so. Subway has gone through massive redesigns in the past several years. Tons of the ones that are those large corporations that are very consumer forward, we've seen them undergo brand changes. However, they're going through some things that you probably don't have at your disposal. One, they have already established brand recognition and brand awareness. Everybody knows Coca-Cola. Everybody knows Subway. Those brands aren't going anywhere. And so whenever they decide, hey, we need to refresh our look, it's probably at an appropriate time because here's the other thing they have, longevity. Those brands are refreshing themselves after 10, 15, 20, 25 years on the market of looking exactly the same. If you refresh yourself after 6 months and then after 9 months and then after 15 months, it just looks sloppy, like you don't have it together. So that's why they're working with something a little bit different than what we're typically working on as small businesses, not to mention budget. They have a team of marketing professionals who are able to do all of the focus groups, the panels, the brainstorming, and come up with things that are beautiful and then do a full launch with them on all of their social media channels, websites, commercials, radios, all of those good things. As a small business, if we go through a revamp, it's probably going to be like, hey, now I'm sending you a different invoice than the last one you got. Here's a different quote than the last one you received from me. Oh, I know when you went to my website last time it was red, now it's blue, surprise. So we don't want to look like we just don't have it together. Okay, so that's point number one. Point number two, be social. I can tell a lot of you already are since you're in this group. But it is really important to maximize use of the social media channels that we have, especially since they are free. So you want to make sure that you have updated current content, current profile pictures, current about me sections, current contact areas in Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and I'm going to say it, TikTok. Guys, TikTok is skyrocketing. Like when we're talking about fast growing social media channels, it is way up there and it is growing at a pace that is completely unheard of. Cool thing is right now you have international exposure for your company absolutely free. Anytime you upload a video, somebody's going to see it. Now, if you feel like that might not be a good channel for you, like, hey, I don't need international coverage. I just want to work locally and I just want to do finance and I don't have a funny video to share. Okay, cool. You don't have to worry about doing that just yet, but I would still encourage you to go ahead and establish a TikTok channel, put your information on there. And then that way, if somebody ever down the line is like, hey, can I just follow you on TikTok? At least you've already established your name before somebody else takes it. You also will have a channel established, even if it's not populated with any content just yet. It's good to get these things going up front. And then later on, as you build some more processes in place and that you have the time to invest in something like that, at least the channel is already there and waiting for you. I also want to make sure that whenever you build these channels, they are again aligned to your brand colors, your logos, all of the voice and the tone and the messages that you post should be very aligned the whole way. You're going to know, oh, here's another post. I bet it's coming from this company again because I've caught on to the types of posts that they make. Here's a tip for you. Canva, if you are not on canva.com already, the pro version, I'm not trying to sell it, I don't get commission, but it is absolutely worth it. And they have pre-populated hundreds of thousands probably of templates ready and waiting for you to take all the guesswork aside, especially if you're like, hey, I'm not that design person, branding, creating logos, that's not my thing. Well, cool, it doesn't have to be because Canva has made it their thing and they've made it so incredibly accessible to you. And I would highly recommend getting on Canva, using some of their templates, and that can help you build a brand that you're super proud of. And then once you do, you are aligning it across all of your social media channels. Another pro tip, your email signature. That is part of your marketing and communications. So whenever you establish an email, which would be really awesome if it can be at your company name instead of at Gmail, go ahead, establish that email address, and then make sure that your signature at the bottom has little links, and we want to see the image, the icons to all of your social media channels and that they are already hyperlinked to them. You want to include other things in there like a photo or your logo or whatever else that needs to be associated with your company. Go ahead and do that as well. I'm going to offer you one more tip. So when we're talking about social media channels, it is not just those top 5 that we're always hearing over and over again. It is also establishing your establishing your business on Google Business. It is also establishing reviews on Yelp. And then it is also if you have a business that would fit in well into something like Thumbtack or Angie's List, all of those different organizations that have basically built directories, you need to get on those directories because those are the places that are doing some really awesome SEO stuff on the internet. So when people are typing in, hey, I'm looking for this thing, what comes up first? Angie's List, Thumbtack, Yelp. Those are the people that are always at the top. They're going to go to those websites and then those websites have done the work for them. And they said, oh, you're looking for an accountant in Houston. Here are the top accountants in Houston. And if you're not on that, then that's a huge gap that you are missing on potential clients. So you need to do a little bit of research, figure out what are the top websites you need to be on. I know here's a brand new one that's just come up, a directory for nonprofits. I know they're based out of Austin, but they are working nationwide. It's called Philanthroforce. If you are serving nonprofits, not if you are a nonprofit, if you are serving nonprofits, I would highly recommend that you get in on, be one of their founding members. I know they're launching in a couple of months, so they're doing it at a discount right now. You can get in, and that way when nonprofits are looking for people to provide certain services, they are going to find you on there. So create a profile with them as well. All right, we're moving on. Tip number 3, I encourage you to be incredibly active in your local community. What this looks like is you are sponsoring school events. This is a great opportunity to get your brand out there. So when the PTA comes knocking, when Booster Club comes to your door, when you get phone calls because, senior night needs something, don't look at those as like, oh, I don't have kids at that school. That does not apply to me. Everybody's always asking me for money. I don't have time to give to them. I would highly encourage you, if you feel like you have a market in your community, if there's somebody in your community that you can serve, get your name on the school sponsored events. They will oftentimes offer logo displays, shout outs on their social media channels, and they probably have a lot more followers than we do. We want to make sure that you are showing that not only are you somebody who is a local resource in the community, but you support your community, and people like to support those who give back. So give back. You can do it a little selfishly this time, and you are doing it for the purpose of consider it a marketing expense. You are donating to these organizations so that you can get your name out there and build brand awareness. I'd also encourage you to attend networking events. I know it's a little hard right now because some of them are not in person, but I do know a lot of them have gone back to in-person meetings, of course, with social distancing in place. Some of them are still sticking around virtually. I actually just went to a brand new networking event this week, and already I've knocked it out, and it was fabulous. It was the first time I had ever gone to this organization's event. I decided to give it a try, and it was probably one of the best networking events that I have ever been to online before. So I was really impressed. People are figuring this out. We've been doing it long enough now that they know how to make these events worthwhile. So I'd very much encourage you to make sure you are being active in these networking meetups, because that is where you're going to start to build connections with other people. So even if that networking group is not where you're going to find your potential clients, they have people who will be your potential clients. And when you build relationships with them, you are casting your net far and wide, because they're going to say, hey, I know somebody. You know why people do that? It's because people love to look like a know-it-all. People love to look like they have information. They're connected. They're like, oh, hey, I can put you in touch with so-and-so. All they get out of it is a little bit of an ego boost, but for you, it's free marketing. So get involved, network with those people. I also encourage you to join as many of the local business organizations that you can. So that is like your Chamber of Commerce. If you're a woman, all of those women professional organizations, we have several of them in my town. We have a women's alliance, we have a women's organization, we have a women's lunch club, and then look for the other ones that are specific to your industry. And then I also know there are other organizations in which you can pay to come and attend their events, and then you bring referrals or you bring friends with you. All of those are going to help you build a very strong local foundation. What's great about that is the stronger you are locally, the more people that are willing to testify on behalf of you and build those reviews for you. They're going to be able to pass on your information to other people. And you also have to start somewhere. It's really hard to say, hey, I want to serve all of America. I want to be the American go-to whatever. It's really great, but you have to start somewhere. And it's easiest to start at home with the people that are in your community around you. And then they can also help you, not just through reviews and referrals, but through ambassadorship. And then that's going to bring me into my fourth tip to you: be willing to reward loyalty. So if you create a branded loyalty rewards program, not only are you going to consider earning extra business, repeat business from people that you already had as clients, but you're also going to get those referrals, and you're also going to build spin-off potential. So it kind of rewards and entices people to become a part of your clientele base. Even if they don't need the services that you directly provide, they want to be on your list of somebody who can bring you people that you serve, and they still get rewarded for it. So if they've never been your client, but they refer clients to you, reward them for that. And that's why when you have a strong local foundation, you will have more business than if that foundation didn't exist. So going back to this rewarding loyalty, the idea of having a reward program, that can look like a lot of different things depending on your industry. So if you're in the clothing industry, clearly give out free branded products, have people wear it, take pictures, post it on their social media pages, and that will help get you more business, and they got free clothes out of it. Another thing you can do if you have an actual physical store, of course, punch cards are very popular. Having apps that people can scan and maintain and keep track of the rewards is very popular. Another one, if you are a service-based industry that only works virtually anyway, like talking to my consultants, creating a visual that you can post on your social media, in your emails. You can have it as your cover photo on your LinkedIn, something that says, I offer a referral program, here's what's included. Make it really easy to read, something that's super quick to look at, maybe 3 bullet points, and then a little caveat at the bottom that says, please inquire for more details. But something that says like, hey, for every client you send my way, you both get $100. or you can pick every client you send my way, you each get 2 hours of free consulting service if that would benefit the person who sends it your way. So those are a couple of ideas that you can use for that. But whatever you choose, just make sure you do reward loyalty. The way I like to think of it is if somebody gave you a referral, you're not like, oh man, now I have to pay that person too. The idea is without that person, I would have never got this new business. So yes, you absolutely deserve a piece of what you just gave me. And it can be as small as an emailed gift card to Starbucks or to the gas station or to Target, whatever makes sense for the area that you live in. All right, y'all, the last one that I want to share with you is being a resource. Being a resource is a really great way to get your brand out there because you can create free branded content, like we're talking blogs, newsletters, videos where you give people advice or tips, even going back to Canva, creating a beautiful graphic that says, did you know? And you put some fact on there or a tip. Pro tips, advice, heads up, this is coming. Here's a calendar thing that you should be aware of. Whatever that looks like, come up with lots of branded content, post it regularly, and make sure your brand is on the content itself, because when people share it and they repost it, we want to make sure you continue to get credit for it. What's really great about that is, yes, it does have potential for people to spread the word on behalf of you, but it is also establishing you as the expert in your field. So the other thing I want to tell you is make sure that you not only are posting it on your social media, but you are also putting all of your free branded content on your website. So perhaps you have a resources tab and you have a bunch of links. Maybe they're categorized if you talk about several different things. You put hyperlinks in all of those, and they can hyperlink right back to your social media pages. They can hyperlink back to a Google Drive, wherever they're going. But the idea is that now you've built a bank of resources. And when you have a client coming to you saying, hey, so tell me, how much experience do you have in this? How long have you been doing it? How do we know we should go with you? Why do we trust you over the people that have been doing this work for much longer than you? So you answer those questions for them. And then you can also say, and feel free to check out my free resources section, because I'm here to be a resource for you. People love that. You're not selling anything to them. You are just providing something for them. And again, it's all branded. So you are still building yourself up as the expert in your field. All right, so being able to leverage your brand potential is a key strategy in maximizing your business success. So I hope with those 5 tips, you may have heard some of them before, or maybe posed in a different way. Maybe you have some ideas of your own. I would be interested in hearing more of them. But I do hope that you found at least one thing that I said to be helpful, something you haven't thought about before, something that you're willing to give a try. And if so, please let me know. I would love to read your comments. I will be monitoring them this evening between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. today. So please do drop your comments in there. Let me know what you thought about the video, if this was helpful, and if you are trying any of these things on your own. So again, my name is Dr. April Willis, and I am happy to have been a part of this evening for the boardroom. And I look forward to communicating with you guys a little bit more, interacting with you through that Facebook group. And I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Bye.